Well, I'm going to talk. You make the decision whether or not if you want to hear me, not just listen. The closed cycle. What does that mean? That means out with the old that should have been gone, and now we in a new cycle. So do you bring the old into the present? For those that are in a repetitious cycle, yes, you will, because you don't believe that it is done. That's your choice. But for those that are gnawing and biting and scratching to reinvent themselves, this is for you. Now, because I know that the paradigm shift ascension as an entirety is over, that means if you ascended, you ascended. If you didn't, you didn't. Good riddance. That's how you close a cycle. You don't have no emotions about what gets left in the past for whatever reason. Now let's talk about some of the things that I addressed in my latest upload, not release. Because if I say I'm releasing something, that means it was already published in the membership. So my members have been informed whether or not if they remember or whether or not if they clicked on it when it was viewable to them. I want to talk about love binding. So this is just an just an addition to what I talked about, what I addressed in my latest upload, which was done yesterday or the day before yesterday. Listen, it is 7 variables to love binding. You can bind someone to you, you can bind someone away from you, and someone could bind you for life to where you won't have someone that is adequate. Now, the other ones I'm going to talk about in an upload because we're in new energy. So we're breaking it down. This is what you get when you subscribe to me, the real spiel. Because the majority of us know that the white picket fence comes down. It comes down at some point, especially when you are not with the person that the creator created for you. So you can say, I have 1,000 soulmates because most of us beings have 1,000 soulmates because we didn't been somewhere before. That could be a companion, a coworker, a dog, a cat, a tree. Because if you sit under that tree, you feel peace. If a tree is the only thing that brings you peace, then that's a soulmate. Simple as that. We are used to the ones that we feel we're supposed to love for a lifetime, right? That's how it was explained to most of us before the whole twin flame came into part, because it is a portion. If you don't watch my readings, you got to play catch up. Soulmates are important because at times you need someone, and I do mean need someone to see you through something. Now, because I'm who I am, I'm going to say right now, you don't need nobody because you ascended. But at times, okay, if you didn't need them in the past, if you had not ascended to your rightful place, you're going to need them right now. That's just the way it is. Because all of my crew is already at the top. Whether or not if our finances is reflecting that. Because we're where we're supposed to be. So what does that look like when you go outside? That means you're going to encounter individuals that are losing things right before your eyes, explaining things, not cognizant of their surroundings because they are new there. It's where they're supposed to be. Even if you're just breezing past, they are where they're supposed to be. If you're my team, if you're my member, because you know you were supposed to bear witness to a lot of stuff spiritually, physically, mentally, and metaphorically. So it's an introduction of a new paradigm. That's what we're in. Now, what made me hop on really quickly was something that I observed. Amina Butterfly. If that is not how you say her name, that is how he spelt it. When I was introduced to her through her ex-husband, because we're gonna normalize exing people because it's respectful. Peter Guns, because she's her own separate energy. His ex-wife. She said she tired of being tired at 42, looking extremely gorgeous while saying it. She tired of being tired. She say all the males that she done ran into done played in her face, just to break it down. She's an example, a perfect example of someone that'll say, I want to just as, for instance, I want to look like Butterfly in my next life. They don't care if the whole life that she lived when they encountered her, she didn't have an adequate companion. Because that's what it is. They want to look like her. They want to sound like her. She's extremely beautiful. What is the point of saying you want to look like someone if it's not to have their life, their experiences? Well, she was with a celebrity, yes. And what's your point? She has a beautiful singing voice. Another example of those that should be producing music. I don't know if she has any latest songs out because I don't follow her. Maybe I should. Listen, that's no disrespect to Mr. Guns. I said it because a soulmate is a soulmate. If you decide one day that this is not working out for me and you done created beautiful children, then it should be a co-parent situation. Now let me tell you, to me, a co-parent don't mean they at your house cooking, you at my house cooking. That's not co-parenting. Co-parenting means you get them. I'm going to do what I do, probably sit in a bathtub with bubbles and WINE and relax because the proof is in the pudding. We're scuffling. I can't trust you. You can't trust me, whatever. That means contract over. Is it love? Yeah, maybe. Maybe it's love, but it could be a binding. You ever thought that somewhere along the line, someone that you don't know in that body decided that you needed a love forevermore? Just somebody I say, whoop whoop, needs to have this type of person in their life for all being. Oh, we have a conundrum. We have we it's a issue here. Why? Because what was the purpose? Was you trying to block someone? Was you trying to intrude somewhere? You know, there is an era that felt like if they were born through someone, then their life would be better. Which brings up another topic that I addressed in my latest upload. So check it out. When I say stuff like illegitimate, y'all, and some of that is accurate, but it plays into a past life. You say illegitimate means a child was created through unwed parents at some point. Yes, yes, but not the definition of wed that you believe. Because if you are a being, you are already spoken for. Whether or not if you encountered that individual or you encountered them and passed them up for whatever reason. You know, when we get to feeling lonely, we say things like, if I would have just treated such and such right, I wouldn't be by myself. It's not I would be in love, everything would be cozy and comfortable, and I would love coming home. You know what I'm saying? Life would be easier. Life would be joyful, even if I'm in one room. Type love. You don't it's you know the reason why it's important is when you get tired, you say things like, "My life would be easier if I would have." I say it periodically. Yeah, but when you got a purpose and work to do, especially public figures of all types, that means regardless if you like it or not, someone is looking up to you. A lot of people do not want that responsibility. I don't want it, so I can only imagine. You just trying to live your life, right? But, at some point, you have to normalize people being people. You have a device, I have a device. I may have a name, I have a fame, I have some type of celebrity status, you know, but I'm still a person. I want to talk about living. So you get to a certain point and you say, listen, and somebody say, you want a man, you got a man? And you say, no, no, I do not. I've been there. If you would have asked me 7 years ago, I would have said, I don't ever, 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 forever, ever want to be married. I don't need a man, right? And then, and then something like ascension happens. And you're like, wait a minute, where are you? Where are you at? It's different. It's different. It would be easier, so we think, if one was sitting on the side of us. But it's variables to that. You don't know what he got going on spiritually. He don't know what I got going on spiritually, but mine's do. Mine's know what I got going on spiritually. I don't know what he got going on spiritually. And because of that, we separated. When somebody binds you, right? The type of binds heskenaz that I'm talking about, on my platform means it takes lifetimes to get it off. Sometimes a love binding is as severe as, will you marry me this lifetime? Imagine that. Imagine having to actually marry someone that bound you in a past life to fulfill that contract. For the ones that don't know that was done to them, it's because the person that you was married to didn't do it. You know, if y'all think I'm capping, we're talking about supreme beings. These is beings that were bored and they had free reign. They got to do what I'm talking about. Beelzebub, Baphomet, Cote d'Ivoire, Lucifer, Baal, Thanos. They have free reign. I'm not going to talk about their father because then that's a whole different energy there. They have free reign. They could do whatever they want to who they wanted. And when y'all talk about I'm a witch, they was really with witches. You know, the binding of a phallic. They know what that's all about. Listen, let me tell you without going into details. I was talking to someone that had a binding of his phallic. And I knew that's what it was. I knew instantly. I said, "Mm-mm, this is before readings." I said, "Oh no, 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 no. Not today. No, 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 no." Perfect gentleman in the beginning, you know, took me on dates, you know, bought things, cooked, you know. But that phallic was bound. That's different. You know what I'm saying? If you encounter someone that got a binding on their phallic, move away expeditiously because whatever was put on them, they got to break that off. And you're going to go through all kind of ish with that individual. So just don't say, "Oh, but I love him," because you don't know him. "Oh, I'm lonely, he'll do. It's not important." That's a lie. That is a lie. Because you're not at that stage where you say, "I'm celibate." Because if you were, you wouldn't even encounter that individual. Now that you've met him, I'm telling you, now that you met the individual that got a binding on his phallic, years from now, you're going to be at the stage where you say, "I'm celibate." Because you're just going to get fed up. Sometimes you got to go through public humiliation, not the kind that someone wants for you, but the kind that you put yourself in. You know, that where everybody know you're making a mistake but you, because you love him. I'm I'm just gonna take a boot upside my noggin, because he loved me. I seen my mama go through it, my grandma. It's normal. That is a hexagona. If you think anything substandard is for you, any belief, any person, and I'm not talking about look wise, because you know we're in the phase where you buy beauty, and some will gnaw you to be able to purchase that beauty. Somebody's missing a card, the kind you get food with. Y'all know what I'm talking about? Y'all be thinking I be talking about them credit ones all the time. Perfect example of a hexagon. When you encounter a dude that's always taken from you, You can't leave nothing around because he I don't, that's not me. I'm telling y'all, I didn't encounter them type. You got a severe Isakina on you, and every time you're at the store, you meet somebody and you say, "God sent me a new man." No, he didn't. You can say Coupe de Ville sent him because your contract is due. You know what I'm talking about? He's not the only one that'll send someone. Jezebel will send someone. Because after all of the precautions, all the flags that are red, this one and so many others do not pay attention. Because these are the type that can't do it by themselves. That's what they say. That's the excuse. I don't know how. Somebody said this to me one time. I don't know how you could just not have a man. Because I have to have a man. Is that right? Oh, look at the little doggy. Oh, so cute. She just had to have a man. And you get tired. Like, it at some point, right? Oh, you don't even know. She don't even know. Her dog done left out. At some point, right? At some point, you get tired. Little things start irritating you. You know? Is a dog coming back? Oh, he done took off. And she just running. She like, see you when I see you. Tell her where that dog done went. At some point, it's a, it's a full moon. You know, that's what dogs do during full moons. They just take off. You leave the door open, they gonna run right out. Some don't sniff their way back because they don't want to be with you. Imagine that. They rather just be out roaming. You know, at some point, y'all, you get tired. Things like the way they chew. I can't stand the way he chew. Why his feet smell like that? That little piece of hair when he need a haircut, that little piece right there in the front. I hate it. He always got a booger in his nose. Y'all know listen, it be little things. Things that if you were with the person that the man upstairs created, not your neighbor, the one all the way up in the sky, created for you, it wouldn't even be an issue. So you mean to tell me someone smacking? I've never liked someone smacking when they eat. I had 3 dudes that smacked and food would just fly off and hit me in the eye. All of a sudden. Every time. Why is that a thing, either? Because of a hexagon. That minute. Because it's meant to irritate you. Then all of a sudden you meet your person, and I mean the person that the God created for you, and all of a sudden his smacking, I like his smacking. It kind of got like a beat to it. He smacks on beat. I like him. You know, everything that irritated you about someone else, you just gonna love about your person. Love bindings are serious. And when someone doesn't know that they have one on them, and then they have money, it's different. Because it takes a long time to come from way up there possibly even another life before they understand. Y'all know with men and males it's different. When they low, you know, especially one that's a go-getter, of course they gotta stop behind me because it's me. You know what I'm saying? All of this space. I mean, a whole block. And they want to stop by, they want to block me. You know what I'm saying? You want to block me in? Love bindings are serious. When you're dealing with men, specifically males, that have a binding on them that have money, they don't care because they're making money. Now, when it starts affecting that cash flow, is when they feel it's a problem. Because you can meet 1,000 inocoses and say they're all beautiful. 1,001 and two come, and then life is different. It's always like that when you're sin, because God said, fat meat is greasy, just like her legs. Why I always get this type? Because of an ex. Why every time I sleep with them, they act all cray? Because of a hex. Is it a problem? No, it's not a problem because they act like that about me. And then that 1,003 is different. There's something about the thousands. You know, one of the individuals in the group paradigm shift said, this has to be done 1,001 times before it'll be effective. 1,001. Interesting, right? Hint, hint. I said I was almost out of there. I said that because I believe I'm not going to stop reading for elect ones because I'm an elect one. I'm just saying for the ones that's up and coming. That means ones that may be speculating that they are, the ones that don't know that they are, and the ones that are putting in work to be great later on. That's something about them. It's a whole fraction of ones that will support and donate. I just got to close that off. It is the celebrity section. I done said 1,076 times. So now that I'm in here, in this energy, I'm gonna float on this one. Because when the big G says it's a wrap, he mean it. So that means right in the midst of a reading, he may say shut it down and delete it. Like he gonna do when you get ready to produce that song. And then if you don't do it, guess what? Because this is what he do to the men, the males. Because y'all be on that line, right? It's convenient when you need us to be an elect one, to be a HE raiser. You do understand that that is a fraction of elect ones. There's a whole host of others. But for some reason, in the industry, HELL raisers are popular. Baphomet is not one of them. Because some of y'all feel like if y'all call Baphomet, then he'll come save you out of a situation. Jeezy Bezel gonna stop doing it too. You know, when you're dealing with men, for the women and the females that are listening now and in the future, when you're dealing with men, with me, they consider me the middle woman. And now that they have communication, right? They feel like it's forevermore. When we don't rock like that, it's loyalty before dishonor. You got to take into account who universe father I have. What, Ether? Who my universe father is. I mean, because sometimes the dudes, not all of them, they be like, well, she just a female, she a woman, but men have females. They bear female children. So it's a respect thing. Because of the severity of all of this, let me tell you, my portion was done before I even entered into ascension. I had already ascended so many times. When I got into my ascension home, that was for work. You know, the pilgrimage thing. All the time, the pilgrimage mean you're gonna leave the majority of your stuff behind. And then you gonna attempt to try to save what you put in storage. If someone really has your back, they got your front too. Let me tell you, if you go through something like I went through, that means your spiritual spouse cannot contribute financially. Why would the big G do that? Because it's an ascension. That means you got to learn how to work with this individual and create a bond, establish a bond that you want forevermore. That means when the times get hard, if I look at you and I say, I don't want to deal with you today, he gonna say, whatever. You know, I doubt he say that because it's always on the woman. Every paradigm shift, every last one, is always on the woman because the men, the males, the boys need to ascend. We go through something different. We want love, we want stability, and when we reach that point where we like, look, I don't need a man. I thought I may have wanted this, but I don't. Now I figured it out. Now I'm good where I'm at. I can live peacefully by myself. Those of us that decide that we gonna jump back into the dating pool, we get in there and then we start noticing things. Why is mustache sit like that? Why is pinky finger black? Why is nose whistling? Mm-mm, mm-mm. If you were to tell the average female that those little ticks bother you, and that's the reason why you don't want to date someone that works in the office, mm-mm, girl, no. His pinky finger is black. No, that is a sign. I think he farted when we was eating. He could have just held it or went to the bathroom. In your 40s and 50s, there's no there is no room to hold any type of gas. He's going to fart all the way to the restroom. You know what I'm saying? Everybody on that side about to be mad. Literally. I mean, right now. You're not missing nothing. I mean, no, you're not. You are not. Look, let me tell you, at some point, and everyone that is like Amina, you're not missing nothing. And you know it. That's why it's no you know what happens? You're like, let me start working out. Mm-mm. Let me start eating better. I think I want to stay here with my salad. You stop caring about being size zero. You know? Then all of a sudden you look in the mirror, you're like, oh, wait a minute. Your skin is glowing. And then here come another one. Hey y'all, did y'all see that little short? The blue face, blue face, blue face, blue face. Intruding on his baby mama. She came out the back like, what do you want? You see what I'm saying? At one point, when she came out the back, she probably had butterflies and hearts all in her eyes. He's here. Then all of a sudden, it's like, when you leaving? I'm just saying. Contract over. Wait a minute. I love my baby. I know you do. But right now, she with Buki. It is what it is. You know what I'm talking about? She Buki, and she with Buki Boo. This brings me pleasure. You just, you like 20s and 30s, 50s and 40s. Listen, this is what I'm talking about. Perfect example of tired of being tired, public humiliation, you know, scratching, gnawing, and biting, you know, to stay in a relationship because time been spent. Does it mean that it wasn't supposed to happen? No. I'm just saying. There was a time when there was arranged marriages. Where do you think they got that from? Somebody decided that they wanted to be in someone else's heritage for their lineage, their birthright, their assets, their gifts. Spiritual gifts are important to those that already have money. Y'all do know that, right? I have everything that I could possibly have in assets. Now, I want your 6 cents. Like you're going to the grocery store and picking red apples. Where you going? I'm going to another fraction. That's where I'm going. You know, there's no coincidence that the industry has been highlighted in every pool from the first to present. Y'all may not know that they're in there, but they're in there. They know they're in there. If you see on on this latest upload that I just put out, it says free message right there. Why you think that came out? That is Baphomet. Why do you think that's a bull, you see? Why do you think that came out? Why y'all think that? It came out because certain people believe they're supposed to get something for free. And now it's closed. That is it.